Good afternoon and welcome to Klingspor's Woodworking Shop 20th Annual Woodworking Extravaganza Virtual. I'm Mike Z, and joined with me is Chris. And today we are going to have guest speaker Izzy Swan on, but unfortunately Izzy's not going to be able to make it due to a scheduling conflict. So we do apologize in advance, but we do have some nice things set aside just for an occasion like this.
Enjoy this video of penguins dancing. Oh, no, wait, that was something else.
Yeah, no, we don't have that one. So what we will do is talk about all of the deals that we have going on at the Extravaganza. If you head on over to woodworkingextravaganza.com, you'll find all of the deals, the schedule that we have set up for all next week, as far as all of the, and tomorrow for all the demonstrations and lives that we're doing, as well as if you go to woodworkingshop.com, that's where you can purchase all of these fantastic deals. But first, we're going to touch off with ARBORTECH. You're going to get 10% off all ARBORTECH products.
And ARBORTECH, they have a variety of different wood carving products. They have a little angle grinder, the mini carver. They've also got some new cool products, the contour sanding disc, as well as the some other products.
And you're also going to save 10% off of the crown tools, turning tools, an entire line of the M42, the cryogenic series, and as well as their regular high-speed steel, all made in Sheffield, England. Let's not forget about Easy Wood Tools.
And Easy Wood. If you're trying to turn wood, Easy Wood Tools will get it done. Made in the USA. Got a full line of different length of handles as well as tools. And all of their cutters are all the little small carbide replaceable inserts. Fantastic for the beginner. If you're just trying to learn to turn, this is the way to go with Easy Wood Tools.
And we'll also have a video from Carl Jacobson showing us how to turn a bowl
using Easy Wood Tools.
That's right. And FOREDOM, if you have not gotten into power carving yet, you must check out the FOREDOM Power Carving 5240. It's now on sale, 10% off, as well as all the the FOREDOM Carbide Typhoon bits.
All of those, yes. And King Arthur Tools. King Arthur offers a variety of different tools as well for the grinding applications. Step on in if you're interested in any kind of power carving. Great product line to start with.
We also will be joined with Little Bear, Ellen from Little Bear Furniture, and Nick Agar later this week, next week, with King Arthur Tools, demonstrating some of their power carving and what is in their toolbox.
And of course, 10% off Klingspor. These are blades. Check out the blades at 10% off. You'll probably see this logo again later with a better percentage rate off on other products.
Well, what you'll find is that all of the Klingspor abrasives are going to be 15% off, as well as all of our American U.S.-made router bits.
And the German saw blades are 10% off.
If you need to get into more power carving accessories with files, cutoff wheels, and everything else, Kutzall is going to be the brand for you. Kutzall have been power carving since... I don't know. It just sounded really good in my head.
A long time, but with Kutzall, it cuts it all.
You want 10% off Laguna? We've got 10% off Laguna. Right now, save 10% off of any Laguna lathes.
Is it lathes only, Mike?
No, there's more stuff to it. But check the website, woodworkingshop.com, for all the details on what is 10% off for the month of October.
And I wonder if their dust collection systems are on sale, because I'm in the market for one of those.
Are you in the market for a dust collection?
Cyclone.
They have some amazing Cyclone dust collectors, I will say. So
C-Flux, P-Flux.
I think there's a B-Flux.
Is it a capacitor for a time machine?
It's only 1.21 gigawatts and 10% off all Nova products on sale. This is going to be on select products. I do apologize. Some of the chucks and some of the lathes, but not everything. If you haven't used the new, Voyager drill press, I would highly suggest you check that out. It is a DVR programmable drill press, automatically changes speeds. The guest that we had for today, Izzy Swan, has one in his shop, and he's done a great video on that. You can find that on YouTube. But the DVR type motor that's for that drill press is kind of one of its kind, first of its kind, and it's an amazing drill press.
10% off POWERMATIC.
That was great. You should do PROXXON next.
10% off PROXXON. If you're looking for small little different tools, PROXXON's got a lot of little detail sanders, little grinders, lots of little things that are in the smaller market. If you're trying to get into power carving, don't want to quite invest in a higher end unit or a more expensive unit, PROXXON's a great entry level startup to ready to get you going. PROXXON.
PROXXON is definitely one of those products that's made for model builders, train builders, people who are going to be doing very fine detail work, and they don't need the large machinery for it. They need something on a smaller scale. The PROXXON line is a great line to check out.
Robert Sorby
will be 10% off all this week during the extravaganza. We will have Daryl from Dreadnought Workshop coming in, and he's going to be doing a live demonstration on the brand new Rikon sliding bed lathe.
Just like Crown, Robert Sorby is made in the UK, so very high quality steel put into their tools.
Sheffield Steel, as a matter of fact, from Sheffield, England. System 3, the originators of the clear epoxy mirror top, is now 10% off all this week.
And if you're looking to get some little epoxy to do a little project, that System 3 mirror coat, great little material to use for creating those little nice thicker tops.
TORMEK, the Swedish sharpening system, is going to be 10% off all of the accessories and materials. This is a one-stop shop sharpening system. It uses a wet wheel in place of a dry grinding wheel, and it's also at very slow speeds.
And TORMEK has tons of jigs and attachments for their machine, so it helps you no matter what you're trying to sharpen, you can get jiggy with it.
Now, if you don't want to buy a sharpening machine and you would like to have a diamond stone, Trend diamond stones are some of the best on the market. And we will be having Trend joining us later on this week. But Trend offers a wide variety of even credit card size styles of diamond stones. So you can keep them in your wallet, keep them in your tool pouch, keep them in the toolbox, and they're all 10% off.
And Trend is becoming more and more popular. So I guess that means they're trending.
10% off all Woodstock International products, everything from clamps to dust collection. Woodstock's got you covered.
Yes.
Sorry, I was on a roll on that one. It's the end of the day. We're feeling great. One of the things that we have for you today is going to be Scott Caskey, who's going to be joining us. Also, the gentleman who gave us lots of ash shavings on our table, as you can tell here. Scott is going to show you how you can take your bowl gouge, if you have a standard bowl gouge, and how you can turn it into the Ellsworth Grind using a basic grinder. So let's check that out now.
Take it away, Scott.
Hello, I'm Scott Caskey. I'm here at Klingspor's Woodworking Shop in Hickory, and I'm going to do a little demo on how to take a English style bowl gouge and make it into a fingernail Ellsworth style grind on it. First, I'm going to do one freehand on the bench grinder, and then we're going to go through one video with the Wolverine system, showing you how to use the Wolverine jig, and then we'll also show how to use the TORMEK and set it up so you can use whichever system you have to get the most optimal use out of your equipment. Start off with, I'm going to just kind of go over what a English grind is. This is the standard English grind. It is just basically the standard flute with a bevel on the top. This is typically how the English use their bowl gouges. In America, we tend to not like this very much because it does have a tendency to grab if you're roughing out and everything with it. But it does have one major advantage in this factor, or even with the ears just slightly pulled back, and that is in the bottom of a bowl. When you get deep into a bottom of a bowl with this bevel like this, and like it, you can get and clean up the bottom of a bowl a little bit better in this situation. But this is the general profile in which we like in America. It's mostly common, the Ellsworth grind, and it is very easily achieved and maintained once you kind of get the idea of how to do it. All right, this is the standard English grind on flute, which is how the English typically make their bowl gouges. If you notice, it has a pretty much straight up and down ears on it. And in America, we tend to prefer an English or an Ellsworth style grind, which looks like this. You can see the difference where the ears are pulled back. It's much less for getting catches. It's more forgiving. It's also a more versatile tool. So what we will typically do is we'll remove the big shoulders up here and go back, sweep them back. There is an advantage to having an English bowl gouge in your toolkit is in the bottom of a bowl. If you've got a deep bowl, it's easier to get in the bottom and clean up the bottom, but you want to keep these ears away from the wood because it will make a nasty catch if you're not ready for it. The process in which we'll go from getting from this to this will consist of, first, we will take and grind those ears back. We'll just take it straight up against the grinding wheel like this and go down until we get it to the very tip, and then have it swept back as far as we want for our ears for our English grind. After we do that, we will take and set our grinder up the right angle, which is this angle here is typically what I tend to use, which is around between 40 and 45 degrees. There's a lot of debate on which is the correct angle, somewhere in between there, but just pick something. Once you get used to it, you'll be happy with it. But once you get that plate set where you can set this down on and it makes contact with your wheel, like something like that, then we're ready to remove the excess off of here to get that English grind. What we're going to do now is, you see this one still has that hard flat surface on it, and this one's already been ground back. What we're going to do is take it and set it flat against the tool rest, and we're going to roll it into the wheel, like up here where my thumb's the wheel. We're going to keep it flat against the tool rest completely, and we're going to roll it over and in until we remove that stock. All this stock over here, what we're going to do is going to leave this fine little edge on the edge of this here and remove all this on this side over here. And this is what we're going to be left with. Have a container of water so you can keep your tool cool, so you don't take the temper out of the tool while you're cutting, because you're going to see me constantly quench to keep the tool cool. By the way, this is a slow speed grinder. It's 1800 RPM. Try not to use the high speed grinder because it gets too hot too quick, removes stock way too fast. So pretty much all wood turners, if you're using a grinder, recommend finding a lower speed grinder. To start off with, I'm just going to hold the tools up high on the tool rest. I'm going to come in, let both ears make contact, and I'm just going to work it down. And I'm telling you the truth, I'm not even positive which stone I'm on. If I'm on the coarse or the fine, it really doesn't matter for what I'm doing. I'm just grinding it back, and take a look and see I'm not all the way back. Not all the way back to the point yet. So I still got some more to remove, but you see how the color is just changing on this tool, which is telling me I'm getting it hot. Anytime you get a tool hot, you do change the temper. So no longer than I've been on the grinder right now, I am changing the temper somewhat on the tool. So that's the reason why you want to constantly quench. And you see I'm getting closer. I'm starting to see sparks come across the front, which is telling me I'm getting really close. You can see I've got just a little dab left on the very top edge that's not shiny, which tells me I'm not at that front edge yet. I think I just saw some sparks, just did. Let's quench that. And you can start to see just a very faint shine across the top of it. Bench grinder. First, I'm going to take a Sharpie and put black on the back side of this so I can check my angle. The other thing you want to do is go ahead and power the machine completely off and preferably unplug it. I'm going to leave it plugged in just for the sake of the video for speed, but I'm going to hold this down on this bench and I'm going to kick this angle up and move it until I get it pretty close, and I'm going to spin backwards and see how I'm hitting on the bottom side, so I need to tip it down a little bit, which also I'm going to need to come in some too, so let's do that. And if you notice, this is not exactly the steadiest piece right here, which is fine. It's all good. It'll be close enough for what we're doing. And you see I'm starting to get a line go all the way across to the tip top. It's close enough for us to do what we're needing. Now, the key here is to keep this tight against this tool rest at all times. And what we're going to do is we're going to take and just work this one side down. And we're going to quench quite frequent in there so we don't and keep the temper in that tool from removing all the temper in it. You can see that little line gets smaller and smaller. And you can see it's getting closer. That this whole shoulder is disappearing, and we've still got this shoulder over here, just like in that wooden demo model. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep on rolling it. And once we get it to that edge, you'll notice that there will be sparks coming across the top edge. You start seeing them now. It means we're really close to having it where we need to be. You can barely see a shiny line up there, which means there's just a little bit left to catch. I don't know if you can see it in the camera or not, but there's a real shiny line right where my thumbnail is. That means we're just got a little flat spot up there. So we're almost there on that. All right, now we have our basic grind. And we can go back and touch up once we get it closer, but get the other side. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. I'm going to move this out of the way. All right, now we've got our rough fingernail grind. You can see the grind marks in here are not real even and smooth, which is one major advantage to having a jig do it. But now that we've got this, you also notice I've got a pretty heavy point on the front. So now I'm going to go back and clean up and kind of sweep it all the way around to round my point back out like we would normally have in our normal grind. So we're going to just kind of swing. It's easier to do one side than the other, than come back up and clean up that point. The key to this is keep your nose or the tool tight to the tool rest. Now you can see that sharp point is now gone off the front of it, which is what you're wanting. I'm going to make a few final good cleaning passes and see if I can clean up some of those grind marks. All right, that's how you take a standard English grind to a bowl gouge, an English or a more of an Ellsworth grind, freehand. And if you can see, we got all sorts of little waves and stuff in the surface, and we do have a little discoloration, but that was because we were heating it up pretty good. So that means those are tempers slightly off where you see the major color changes, but it should not be enough to make a big difference in the tool. Next, we'll show using a Wolverine jig how to do the same type of profile, and then we'll also go over with the TORMEK. So look out for those videos as well. Hello, I'm Scott Caskey. I'm here at Klingspor's Woodworking Shop in Hickory.
There it is.
Do a little demo on how
All
to
right.
take.
Let me stop that for a second there. All right. So if you're just now joining us, we do want to apologize that Izzy Swan was not able to make it today. We did have a scheduling conflict with him. So hopefully he'll make it back later on the week or next weekend. We're good with that too. But that is how you create an Ellsworth grind on a standard bowl gouge.
Yeah, so if you're trying to get into turning, that's a little more advanced, but certainly something to consider because that Ellsworth is much more forgiving than the traditional style.
That's right. Now, were you going to show us who Izzy Swan is if people were not familiar with him? Not quite sure who they would be, but if they weren't.
I had it up there. Don't know what happened to it.
Started watching your own YouTube channel, I see.
Yeah. Let's see. I had
Well,
it up.
what Izzy was going to talk about today is something that Chris and I can relate with, and that's the maker community. It's a community of people who create things at home that they either need, maybe they're doing it as a side business, and then a lot of them actually turning it into a full-time business. I know with Chris, you have a lot of CNC work that you do on your side, and I have a lot of finishing I do on my side. So we both have personal channels that we contribute to and try to help the community grow. So definitely, if you need to, comment here in the video below, and we can give you those links. But at the same time, that's what Izzy was going to cover. Is just basically, if you're someone who's making something and you want to enter into the maker community, just contribute, just show what you're working on. At first it's going to be really quiet, and that's how it normally goes. Okay. New kid on the block kind of scenario. But once you get in there and once people start seeing what you can do, then of course they're going to start talking and ask you questions. That's just the name of the game. It's how it works.
Well, and it's a community, so find good groups to join in that are like-minded, maker thought process. So watch a lot of different maker videos and learn, and jump in there. And I'm more of I like the mentorship aspect of the maker community, because it's not like this is who I am. Don't even think about copying me. You don't want to copy somebody, but at the same time, it's about mentoring those who are trying to get into it, especially if you've got a lot of experience in a specific field or industry or niche.
Yep. So if you're getting into CNC or looking at CNC and you just have questions, general questions, Chris is our CNC expert here for Klingspor's Woodworking Shop. And what makes him our expert here, our resident expert, is the fact that this is what he does at home. So when he is off the Klingspor's Woodworking Shop clock, he's at Crisscross Crafts making all kinds of things on the CNC.
Sometimes when I'm on the clock, I'm thinking about being home on the CNC.
We're joined by Daniel, and Daniel makes some fantastic, I'm trying to think of the name right off the top of my head. I think it's a country bed. He's in the Northeast here, and he does some amazing turnings. I think they're like 6 feet long, and turns bedposts and makes beds from scratch. Old school, typically 18th century type things. It's just fantastic stuff. So Daniel here that's on screen, he's a maker, and at the same time, it's a full-time business for him too.
Yep.
Let's take a look at your screen and show us what you're looking at.
Well, if you're not sure about Izzy Swan, you've probably seen something that he's built.
You're sharing this one.
Huh?
I don't know. It's showing up as this one.
Okay.
At the stream. See? Don't tell you. Well,
then we'll go here, and I'll do YouTube there.
Well, technical difficulties whenever you come up with, now it's starting to show it. Whenever you're going live. There you are.
I have a really slow computer.
Apparently. Is that a bargain basement type thing, or is it a hand-me-down?
It's a 3-generation hand-me-down.
Oh. Country Bed Shop. That's what it is for Daniel, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to see some amazing work, Facebook, Instagram, Country Bed Shop.
Hey, I found it.
Hey, thank you very much. So Izzy Swan, if you hadn't checked out Izzy Swan, he is known for drill-powered gadgets, dinosaurs, all types of apparatuses where it needs a little bit more juice or more power, like Tim Allen would need. Izzy has figured out how to make it mechanically with a drill and work. A lot of his stuff that he's got going on right now is the in-feed extensions for a lot of table saws. But if you ever want to see something crazy and cool and you have a few minutes on your day, go check out izzyswan.com and check out Izzy Swan at YouTube.
Yeah, he makes, it's not just small things too. I mean, he makes rideable dinosaurs that are powered by cordless drills. It's insane. But the guy's like one of those mad scientist genius kind of fellas.
Yeah, I mean, who shoots screws out of a nail gun? Izzy Swan.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to check that out, definitely subscribe to that. He's almost at 800K.
One cool dude right there.
Yep, absolutely. Him, Chris and I have both been to a shop separate occasions. Actually, Chris got some inside information from him as far as how CNCs work and all of that information, how to start out software wise. So Izzy's been a great resource for us here at Klingspor's Woodworking Shop, as well as just on YouTube for everybody.
Yep. And he's one of those guys very down to earth, but
who wants that? Jeez. All right. What should we do next? Want to see some trend sharpening video?
Yeah, me. This was like, literally we found out Izzy couldn't make it just a short time ago. So.
At the last minute. So luckily we've done lots of videos for other things for Klingspor's Woodworking Shop. So we kind of have a little bit of a library going on here. But if you have any questions, or if you are a maker in the maker groups, like we like to make stuff and you want to join us, just, send us a comment and we will get you the invite. I have it copied, ready to go. But first, let's watch the AAW's virtual symposium video for Trend. Yeah.
How you doing, Morris? And hello, everybody. We're just wearing our little Trend Stealth mask here, and we want to welcome you to this virtual symposium. It's a new thing for all of us. I'm here with Morris Schlesinger, good friend. We go way back with Mike from Klingspor Woodworking Shop, and of course Jamie here with Trend. And again, welcome to all of you. We're looking forward to having a fun time and a really interesting symposium. None of us I think know what to expect, but we're looking forward to having some fun. And I want to introduce you again to Morris. Been working with Morris for 9-10 years now, going way back. And Morris is a great wood turner from Hillsville, Virginia. We've become good friends, and he's really helped us and helped me develop great techniques in sharpening.
So we'll cover this real quick, is that this is a long form video. So we will cut to a few parts that I think are very helpful. If you've never used Trend diamond stones for sharpening a multitude of tools, and you'll see a whole bunch there on Morris's bench. We'll go ahead and jump to that part so you can check that out. But yeah, Trend
is also trending.
Yeah, diamond is also trending, but oh yeah, this one's good.
Now, generally, these newer Forester bits are generally of a little bit higher quality steel than some of the older models, and you're going to find these diamond hones are going to give you excellent results on this better steel.
Are you using much pressure?
No pressure, just enough to keep in contact.
Very good.
It's all the pressure that you need. There are some Forester bits out there that I've ran across lately that are carbide tipped. All right. Now, I've tried these out. They work very well. And the way that we're going to sharpen them is quite similar. What I'll take to start with is the credit card stone. And you'll find that either the small tapered files or the credit card stone are going to work. One of the two of them are going to work really well for you. Everyone has a touch, and you have to find the one that's going to work best for you. But with the carbide, with the main cutters, we do the same thing. We're finding the flat. Watch the carbide show up.
That's awesome.
I'm using a finer stone on the carbide than I use on the steel. You can see the carbide coming off. And what we're trying to do is maintain that flat. Now, when I'm getting up here on the chip breakers, this is a little, it will work, but it's a little awkward for me. So what I do is I go to something smaller that will work a little bit better for me, and a little more lapping fluid. It just takes a touch, but it does such a good job, and it makes things work just so much better. But again, we're just coming up and finding the flat. Flip it over, find the flat. Come to the other side and find the flat. And find the flat one more time. But if you notice, I'm moving the stone, I'm not moving the bit. And you can see the amount of carbide that's coming off just with a few strokes.
So the very first demonstration I ever saw with Morris is doing that. And I have to say, it works. It's very few times you have to go across it with the diamond stone, and it makes it sharp for a standard diamond stone, or sorry, standard Forstner bit or a carbide Forstner bit with a diamond stone.
Yeah, and he makes it look easy.
Yeah, it does.
By using the trend diamond lapping fluid, it's a very lightweight petroleum product of some sort, and I really don't know what it consists of, but it's super lightweight, and it allows the diamonds to cut rather than fill the space between the diamonds.
So I guess it's an important part of our story to mention how the business relationship with Morris began. And of course, we've all dealt with Klingspor over the years, but Morris called one day, and I always thought it'd be a great story for people to learn how to do business. And one of the first things I would tell young people is to use your eyes, your ears, and your mouth, a distant third. Well, Morris called in one day. He was using his mouth. He was telling me how much he was not happy with the Air Pro, and it was breaking on him and all this. And we got him fixed up on that. But I had mentioned that we would, I happened to answer the telephone, and by the way, to backtrack a moment, and Morris was an irate customer. We got him fixed up, and then I asked him to try the diamond hones. Then he emphatically explained that he did not want to try the diamond hone because he didn't like diamond. Well, I sent him one anyway. And then Morris called back a few weeks later and said, you know, I kind of like that. And Morris, you might want to explain how that started to develop.
Well, actually, when Jamie sent me the small 3-inch tapered file and a little bit of fluid, and he said, try it out. And I said, I have absolutely no interest. I've got a nice sharpening system that I use for my wood turning tools. And my experience with the diamonds in the past has been just a total waste of money. So I've got no interest at all. And I'm sitting here doing pepper mills, and I'm eating up Forstner bits just about as fast as anybody that's had anything to do with pepper mills know how fast they go. And I'm getting a little bit tired of buying Forstner bits and smoking them up. So I'm sitting there thinking, somewhere in the back of my mind, somebody kept telling me that when you're sharpening, if you can keep the flats flat and just keep working on the flats, saw blades, chisels, whatever, you want to work that flat. And I looked at the Forstner bits and I said, well, the tooth, they're actually flat. On these original Forstner bits, they have a flat surface because you really can't do anything with the profile. So you have to sharpen the tooth some way, and it has a flat on it. And the cutting surface itself is a flat. So I took the little bit of the lapping fluid, and I went around those flats just trying to get an idea of what was happening. And you could see there was some material being removed. And I said, well, I just wonder what's going to happen when I put this thing, it's all blue, you know, it's smoked up pretty bad. And I said, I'm just wondering what this thing will actually do. This was before I got into the beer that afternoon. And I kept playing with it a little bit. And I said, well, you know, you can actually see where something's happened there. So I stick it back in the drill chuck and put me another piece of wood in the chuck on the lathe and crank it on there. And I said, wow, there's a difference. Not much, but you know, it seemed to improve just a little bit. It's not quite as much smoke rolling out of it. So I wonder what'll happen if I did it again. Well, about the third or fourth iteration, this thing was cutting like it was brand new, and it was smoked so bad. It was blue, okay? And then it started cutting, just like after the third or fourth iteration, it started cutting like a brand new Forstner bit. So I got me some more pepper mill blanks, and I said, let's just see what's going to happen here. So I started boring the pepper mill blanks out, the 1 16th hole that is so difficult to get through. And just as soon as my forester bit started slowing down just a little bit, I pulled it out and touched it up, put it back in. This thing's cutting great. Cut another pepper mill, said, I wonder. Reached down there and touched that thing up again. Getting a little bit warm, so I had to let it cool down. Put it back in there, and this thing's cutting. I'm not buying forester bits anymore. I'm sharpening them. That's the job that little thing will do with your forester bits.
And that's the mini taper file, the 3-inch mini taper with a 1.5 round.
And it's all because of my Air Pro.
All right, so that's how Morris got to know Jamie from Trin, and it's a fun story due to the fact that he was an irate customer, and now he demonstrates for Trin and Jamie, and those two they get along fantastic. It's really funny how that whole thing went originally. And Morris will be joining us next week.
Couple different times.
Yep, probably talking about the same thing, as well as showing us how to turn those salt and pepper shakers, because he does a lot of them, but he does them differently. So one of the things we have that magically appeared while we were at video was the Izzy Swan sandpaper organizer. So we have a bargain box. It is the sandpaper bargain box of hook and loop rolls, 5 pounds. It's like $20, probably on sale for 15% off during the extravaganza though. And Izzy has figured out a way to create a cutting mechanism and a storage unit for it to where you have everything that you need all in one.
Hey everybody, welcome to my shop. My name is Izzy
Ooh, 1 second there, Izzy.
Swan, and today
I can't do that. 1 second. Hey Chris, why don't you show this on your stream? Go ahead and click on the Klingon there.
Alrighty. Yeah, what you'll note about this is it's quite nice. It's got a little place to hold your roll, and you can cut all your sheets and get them organized. Place to hold your sanding pad. One moment here, we will get this thing started.
It's not coming up yet on yours.
Oh,
yeah. So just FYI. Maybe a different window.
I don't have any other windows open.
Oh, that's a bummer. All right, let me see if I can figure out how to knock this one out real quick.
So let's do this. I can stop share screen. Share screen.
we're going to go.
Ooh, I know that. That got loud. Sorry about that. Once again, live difficulties. It showed up right. Ooh, there he is. Okay. Go full, baby.
All right. Let's start from the beginning, because clearly that's what we need to do.
Oh, the downside is we have no audio from yours. So we'll take that out. Forgot about that.
Over
fact.
The sandpaper holder that you just purchased. I'm going to show you how easy it is to put together and talk about a couple different
Click
features
on the YouTube and it'll take you.
There we
and
go.
how it all works. First of all,
It's my
you should
first
have
time
gotten
using
a box
YouTube. I
like
apologize.
this. In this case, this one is for Klingon. Now, both the Klingon and the PSA sandpaper holder boxes go together exactly the same way. So you don't have to worry about that. There's only one small difference, and I will show you that difference here shortly. So we're going to be putting together basically this, and I'm going to show you that process and how simple it is. A couple of things I want to point out. The differences between the Klingon and the PSA is going to be the distance from this little cantilevered piece here to the bottom of the build. And you can tell the distance by the sponge sander that you should have got. Now, if you got a Klingon, you're going to get a sponge sander. If you got a PSA, you're going to get a yellow hard plastic sander. And we measure that distance just by putting the sander there to the bottom and attaching that. So once you know that, you're good to go. Let's go ahead and start putting this together. Right off the bat, I want to mention these parts come directly off the CNC. So there may need to be a little bit of sanding done if you run into some little bits of feathers sticking up like you see right here, or you don't have to. It just really depends on what you want your piece to look like when it's finished. So you should have this part right here, which holds the sander. The sander goes right there. A little bit of a round over on these would be nice to help with the sander fit if you want to. On mine, I used a 1/4 inch round over and just rounded over each side just a little bit so it slides in nice. Again, you don't have to, just makes for a nicer fit. So you should have the sponge sander holder piece, or if you have the PSA sander piece, 6 shelves, one of these little dongles. You can always tell what side goes up or is the top by this rounded section here. And then this section is a much smaller round over. So on the PSA, it'll be shorter than this, but it'll still have that rounded top. And that's the part that goes up. And you'll see what I mean in just a minute. You should have a short piece of dowel, 2 sides, one with a little nub on it. And on some of them, they'll be pre-drilled where we use that for hold downs on the CNC. In others, they may not be pre-drilled. It may just have a little divot right there, and you may have to pre-drill a hole. If you see a divot, you want to put a 1/8 hole right in the center of that all the way through. And then the back. And the side piece that has the little nub on it right here, you'll be looking right at the dados. You'll want to flip that directly over and then use whichever sanding pad you have, whether it's the PSA or the sponge, and set that on the very bottom of that side piece, and then make a little pencil mark right around where those 2 holes are. And that's going to tell you where you want to set this as far as the height off the bottom. So when you use this later to cut your sandpaper, you're cutting it to the right size for your sander. So the next thing you're going to want to do is flip this over and lay it up against the back, and then put your little dongle here with the round part facing towards the top or the side that has the nub. And you'll want to put that right on that mark that you just got. Now, if it's easier, you can super glue that in place, and then you're going to want to pre-drill through those 2 holes to make sure when you add your finish screws that they don't split the sandpaper marking gauge. We'll call it that. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is to attach your dowel. And the dowel goes right here, pretty much flush with the surface. And once you have the dowel attached, again, it's the same scenario. We pre-drill the hole into the dowel, and then we'll add a screw for some extra security. So just a quick tip. I like to use a little bit of psychoaniline glue or super glue with an activator. I can put my part in place real quick, and then it's dry enough almost immediately. It makes it a lot easier for pre-drilling. And again, I'm using a 1 1/4 inch trim screw. You can use regular wood screws too. Just make sure you drill the appropriate hole for them. Now, once that's together, we're ready to start assembling the body of the sandpaper holder. So a couple of options we're going to talk about are how this goes together. Now, from this point, it's pretty straightforward, but if you want to just glue it, you can. If you want to add a couple of holes for screws so you can screw this together, which I am going to do, you can do that now. So in this case, I'm going to put a couple of small 1/8 holes in this dado along this long part here, and I'm going to put one right there, making sure I'm avoiding where these dados intersect or come together, and I'm going to put one up on top. And that's really all this means. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Now this is mostly because I'm too impatient to wait for the glue to completely set up, but that I am going to use it here. And then I'm just going to want to make sure that none of those little tear-offs are sticking up. So the next step is to take the side that we just put the gauge for cutting your paper and the paper holder and line that up with the top. And we're going to put this in place, but I'm going to put a little glue in first. What I want to mention is that this is milled super tight. The tolerances on this are very tight, so you're going to probably need the assistance of a little mallet or a hammer to tap it in place. So before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and run just a small bead of glue down. And I'm going to start with this side piece. And just give it a once over to make sure nothing will interfere when I put the shelves in on the side here. Look, everything looks good. So I'm going to line that up with the top and the bottom, just with my finger. And I'm going to tap that in place. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the screws in, but before I do that, to make sure this whole thing is lined up, I'm going to go ahead and add a shelf right here at the top. What that's going to do by putting this shelf in before I put the screws in the back is it's going to line up these dados really nicely to make sure I'm right on the money. And it's also going to give me a square. It's going to square this whole thing up for me. So on these shelves, I'm just knocking some of these little feathers off from the CNC. And then we can tap the rest of these in place. Now, it's totally up to you whether you want to glue it or not. This fit is a really tight fit. I like to put a little bit of glue on the back. And in this case, just a touch on the sides. Don't need a lot. All right, those went together because of humidity and all that stuff. They can move a little bit, and they went together a little harder than I like. So with the last two, I'm going to go ahead and with some 120 grit, or you could use 100 grit, I'm going to go ahead and thin that out just a little bit so it's not quite as aggressive as the shelves were. And if yours feels like it's a little bit more aggressive than you want it to be putting it together, I would go ahead and just stop and just sand a little bit down. That'll make it go together a little bit easier. Myself, I like a nice tight fit, so sometimes I take it to extremes. So next up, we're going to slide the top in here, and that's a lot better. Let's go ahead and add a little glue. And bunch of. Now, if you want to, you can tack the bottom shelf with some brads just to hold it if you don't want to wait for the glue to dry. Also, you can do the same thing with the top. Now I'm going to flip it over and add my last two screw points to keep everything nice and secure, and I won't have to wait for everything to set up before I can start using it. Remember to always pre-drill. So now your sandpaper holder's all together, and if you've bought the Klingon bargain box or the felt back rolled bargain box, this is what you'd be looking at. If you have the PSA one, this shelf will be a little bit wider and your holder will be a little bit narrower. The nice thing about it is now for this one, the Klingon, the sponge sander goes right in the top and fits nicely. And to cut yourself sandpaper, you take one of the rolls, slide it on there, go right underneath this hook right here, and now you have a nice little gauge to measure how far to cut your sandpaper. Now, while the sandpaper holder is designed to sit straight up like this and hold some sandpaper, I find the best way to peel off sheets is to lay it down on a surface, make sure your edge is square, pull that down to the flat of the bottom of the sandpaper holder. And then I like to use these breakaway utility knives. They're super inexpensive. And once one of the tips gets dull, you just break it off and you're ready to go again. You can use scissors as well, but scissors seem to dull really quick as well. So you just run that along the bottom of this guide here, and you have a piece of sandpaper ready to go and drop into place. Hey guys, I hope you found this video useful. Now I want you to remember, if the fit seems a little bit tight, go ahead and just sand that down a little bit, make the assembly a little bit easier. But I want to mention one thing to you. I have a very active shop, and one box of Klingon lasts me about 6 months. And the nice thing about it is it has all the different varieties of sandpaper in it. Once you have a nice little setup like this, you can quickly make sandpaper sheets for it. And honestly, one box of Klingon can last you, many shops over a year. So welcome to a great way of saving a ton of money on sandpaper. Please don't hesitate to tag Klingspor's Woodworking Shop over on Instagram. Show us what you're doing with your builds and your sandpaper. We'd love to see it.
Thank you very much, Izzy. We appreciate you doing that for us.
Yeah, and I appreciate him reminding us that if you want to do a little 3 to 5 minute video, send that over to Mike. And we'd love to hear what cool tool has made a difference in your shop.
That's right. We're doing the Cool Tools video. That is basically a 3 to 5 minute video of something you found cool at Klingspor's Woodworking Shop. And the grand prize is a $200 gift card. And then the next 9 runner-ups, so the top 10 places, will also get a gift card.
Can I participate?
I didn't have anything in the rules about employees participating.
But earlier you did say I was a judge, so that would, I guess
we'll just have to not show yours. But what we'll do is the top 10 will also get compiled into a video of the cool parts that we like about it. And then we'll go ahead and show that so everyone can see who the winners were. But yeah, absolutely. If you have time, if you already have a video made and you just want to grab a small clip of that to send to us, you can go to woodworkingshop.com, click on the logo there for the cool tool video, or you can email me or send it to Mike Klingspor on Facebook.
because I made a cool tool using cool tools that I bought from Woodworking Shop.
Klingspor's Woodworking Shop?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we hope that kind of worked out for you guys, that you got to see something with Izzy in it. Yes, he did make us this prototype box here that we now have in production. We have a Klingon or we have a PSA, which the Klingon is also known as hook and loop. This one right here is number 3. Mr. Gary Jones has personally done this one in Izzy's shop. So therefore, Gary, thank you so much. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have this particular one.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that's all the time we're going to have for today. Thank you so much for joining us for the first day of the Woodworking Extravaganza.
Yeah. And remember, tomorrow, brand new day with a lot of new potential.
That's right. 11 o'clock, still a secret. So join us at 11 tomorrow to see what we have lined up for you. Thank you so much. I'm Mike Z.
I am Chris.
You guys have a great day.
See you.